Hello BookTube, it's Ben here from the History Fella channel. Today I thought I'd do a bookshelf tour. This particular bookshelf here, that's where I keep all my World War II books that involve particularly members of the Third Reich. There's a few Hitler ones. There's Himmler, there's the invasion of Poland, Joachim Piper, that sort of thing. So because there's quite a few books, I'll probably do this in two parts so that the video is not too long, and although I'll probably just give you like an introduction to the shelf and do some more in-depth reviews at a later time of some of the books. So the first one to start off with is this one here. This is the Third Reich, A New History by Michael Burleigh. I've had this about 10 years. It was the winner of the Samuel Johnson Prize for Non-Fiction. And that's published by Pan Macmillan. But it's generally like an all-in look at the Third Reich and Hitler and his time during World War II. If I read you a little bit from the back, the connecting rod between religious enthusiasm and the elemental passions generated by mass fascism is a central thesis of Michael Burleigh's remarkable new history of the Third Reich. This is a monumental book, a tour de force, and that's by a fellow historian called Richard Overy. But it's certainly well worth a read. There are more newer copies you can get, written by different authors, so there might be a slight change if you want to look at the Third Reich, but that is certainly a good book one of the few good books to start off with. Next we have one of my favourite authors. I've got 3 of his books here. Hitler's Housewives, German Women on the Home Front by Tim Heath. Then we have Creating Hitler's Germany, The Birth of Extremism, and that's also by Tim Heath. And then I've got a third one here, Women of the Third Reich, From Camp Guards to Combatants, also written by Tim Heath, and those 3 are published by Pen and Sword Books. I like Tim Heath's writing because he's a World War II writer, especially Germany. He's certainly doing some Far East books lately as well. But he kind of does like everyday history. He gets to know the people who were there at the time, or certainly relatives, and he does a lot on women's history as well. So he certainly looks a lot into women's history and how it affected them during World War II, not just, the battles and the men involved on the front line. He looks behind the front line and sees how life was and how it affected those having to live back at home. But there are 3 excellent books. Next one I've got is actually one I think I've got to read yet. It's The Commandant of Auschwitz, Rudolf Hoss, and that's written by Volker Koop, who's also an excellent writer. But I haven't actually read this one yet, so that's one I'll have to get around to soon. if I just read this quick bit at the back. I commanded Auschwitz until 1st of December 1943. An estimated at least 2.5 million victims have been executed and exterminated there by gassing and subsequent cremation. At least 500,000 died by starvation and illness, which amounts to a total number of 3 million dead. This figure represents approximately 70 or 80% of all persons sent as prisoners to Auschwitz. The remaining were selected and used for slave labour in the industries of the concentration camp. And that's a statement that was read out during the Nuremberg war crime trials. And it's just particularly a staggering figure. That's 3 million people were sent to Auschwitz and were executed in various ways. That'll be a light, interesting read, that one. And another one, we have Himless Hostages. That's the untold story of Himmler's special prisoners and the end of World War II by Tom Wall. The attempt to turn Irish-born British soldiers into traitors and the officer who played the role of double agent to undermine the German scheme. How a number of British soldiers came to share a hut with Stalin's son and were implicated in his death. The dramatic adventures of the inveterate escapers who tunnelled their way out of Sachsenhausen concentration camp. This one appeared in a video not long ago, I think last week sometime. That's Why Did Hitler Hate the Jews? The Origins of Adolf Hitler's Anti-Semitism and Its Outcome, written by Peter Den Hertog, published by Pen and Sword Books. And the last two books were also published by Pen and Sword Books. Why did Hitler hate the Jews? It answers a lot of questions. It's certainly well worth a read, and I think in the video I recommended that everyone should kind of read that book, and it would reveal a lot of answers and solve a lot of problems really, and maybe things wouldn't be repeated that sometimes do get repeated. And then the last one in this particular video is The Nazis' Nuremberg Rallies by James Wilson, published by Pen and Sword Books. But this book takes a look at the individual rallies, what happened, who turned up, who was invited. But it also looks at all the speeches as well that Hitler made and various senior party leaders. And the book also has fantastic propaganda pictures and posters. Let me see if I can find you a couple. There's some of the pictures. And then you also have things like posters and banners. I really should do some single shot photos to of course when you want them you can't find them. But anyway, I might do some single shot pictures so that people get to have a better look at the pictures and the advertisement posters. But that's The Nazis' Nuremberg Rallies by James Wilson. Anyway, that's the end of the first part. This is the first video. I've probably got another half a dozen or 7 books here for the rest of the shelf, but I'll do that in the second part of the video. Thanks very much for watching. Please give the video a thumbs up if you enjoyed it. If you've got any particular questions about the Third Reich leadership, any of the individuals involved, pop them down below this video and I might be able to answer some of them for you. But other than that, thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.